Welcome to Navigating Now, real talk for rocky times. A Pete the Planner CalmCast.
Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern on, what is today? Hey, turns out it's June 5th. Welcome to the party. I'm Peter Dunn, Pete the Planner, CEO of Your Moneyline, every Tuesday and Thursday for the last several weeks. And for one more week, I will spend 10 minutes with you. That's not a threat, by the way. And we're just going to talk about what has happened since April 2nd. Kind of a weird premise of a podcast / show, but that's what we're doing. We got 1 week left next week, next Tuesday and Thursday. Here's why we're doing it. Liberation Day that President Trump announced on April 2nd was to bring 90 trade deals in 90 days to reduce a tariff war that is created on April 2nd. We are approaching the 90-day mark. That would be roughly July 2nd. And we've got parts of one of those 90 trade deals done. There are no other trade deals done. There are 89 that are not done. There's one that's kind of done, and that is with the UK. Not necessarily criticism, just an observation. So what is going on right now? Well, President Xi and President Trump, President Xi, of course, being the president of China, spoke on the phone this morning for 90 minutes. I was not privy to the conversation, nor would I have necessarily understood the conversation. However, we are told that it was good by President Trump on Truth Social, and the Chinese media were more neutral in their assessment of the call. So the markets are kind of just hanging out. And we're going to talk about three concepts today: market sentiment, stagflation, and housing affordability, which all really play into this. But I'll note this. The next 24 hours are big. Like, they're really big. Because tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m., why am I pointing at you? Well, if you're listening on a podcast, I'm not pointing at you. At 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, the jobs report comes out. And let's just put it this way. 2 months ago, I thought the jobs report wasn't going to be great, and it was really fine, if not good. The next month, I thought, I don't think it's going to be good, and it was great. This time, I'm actually fully convinced it's going to be awful. So this isn't about me being right or wrong. This is about we're about to see whether or not a recession is on the horizon. That's very dramatic, but I actually believe it too. Let's talk about, how about a pivot? Let's talk about market sentiment. Market sentiment is the market concept of the day. And the best way to think about market sentiment, which is a phrase you hear a lot if you watch financial news or listen to financial news or read financial news, it's just mood. That's it. It's just mood. It is the market in a good mood? Is the market in a bad mood? Is the market in a confusing mood? Right now, the market is in a weird wait and see mood. They don't know whether, it's sort of a living organism. It does not know whether to panic. It does not know whether to ignore the tariffs and move forward. And it's tried both of those approaches since April 2nd. It started with panic, and then it's like, we'll be fine. But there wasn't a lot of evidence of why it should be fine other than the last 2 months' jobs reports. I'll tell you this, the more companies that come out and say, we are pausing guidance, which means we're not going to give you forecasts of how our stock is going to do this year, the more companies that do that, the more I believe that the market will turn its nose down. This does not mean you should act, by the way, as an investor. When the market doesn't know what to do, you shouldn't likely do anything. You should probably stick with your strategy that got you there. Okay, so this isn't the time to start doing weird stuff. Don't make it worse. But I'll tell you, Brown-Forman, which is the parent company of iconic things within my pantry, such as Jack Daniels and Woodford Reserve. It is a spirits maker. It just had terrible earnings, and the stock is diving today. Now, that's an interesting one to bring up on this here podcast, but here's why I do it. There's something about the liquor business and things like the liquor business that the old saying is it's good in any economy because when the economy is bad, people are going to buy liquor to imbibe and think about how bad things are. And when the market and the economy is great, people are going to buy liquor and celebrate. So it's commiserate or celebrate. And that's why those sorts of stocks typically do really well. However, when you're talking about exporting spirits to other countries and then tariffs are a part of that, that whole idea goes out the window. So market sentiment right now is cloudy. I will tell you, I don't love making predictions, says a guy who always makes predictions. But if the jobs report tomorrow is as bad as I think it's going to be, then I think you're going to start finding our way towards our next topic, which is stagflation. It is quite clear that the economy is stagnant, right? There's growth, there's contraction. Contraction is when you have negative GDP growth, which we've talked about on this show, which is technically called a recession if it happens in 2 consecutive quarters or more. But we know at least we're stagnant. We likely in contraction right now. Likely this will be the second quarter in a row, which will then signify a recession. People are pulling levers. Okay, so that's happening. Like man, I almost bet the house on that. You should bet nothing on that. And I'm not betting my house on that. Then the next part of this, of stagflation. So stag is a stagnant economy. Well, what's the flation? It's inflation. Okay, so when inflation goes up during a stagnant economy or during a recession, that's called stagflation. And it is not a good thing. It is bad for wages, bad for savings, and it's bad for the Fed's ability to fix things quickly. Now, President Trump has been saying like, hey, lower the interest rate, Jerome Powell, president of the Federal Reserve, like go ahead and lower it so we don't get to stagflation. The reason that Jerome Powell is not doing it is because the inflation is caused by these self-imposed tariffs, which, by the way, the U.S. trade deficit decreased significantly the last month as people have shifted their import and export strategies. So I'll just say this. If the 90 deals in 90 days, which we were told would happen, doesn't happen, and these tariffs stay in place, and tomorrow morning we see the May jobs report, which is going to likely be awful because the ADP private payroll report yesterday was awful, then you're going to have some fear around stagflation. It just feels like the natural thing. Let's talk housing affordability, kind of another weird left turn there. So given everything we've just talked about tariffs and about a stagnant economy, now it's not a beautiful time to buy a home. I mean, this is Uncle Pete to you. Not a great time unless you are in a position to buy a home. If you've got the down payment and you've got the income to handle it and the interest rate doesn't bother you, it's not the best time to buy a home. But I will note this. If you are going to buy a home or go rent an apartment or a house for that matter, I'm going to give the advice I gave my wife on the very first date we had some 30 years ago. Just lower your standards and everything will be great. Like really, if we're in a subprime time to buy a home, and I don't mean from an interest rate perspective, don't buy as much home as you otherwise would have bought. If in a normal market condition, you could have bought a $500,000 home, don't do it anyway. Lower your standards, and then that's how you protect yourself. I know this is disheartening guidance, but it is the right thing to do. It can be both harsh, oddly critical, and 100% true. So stay tuned. Next week is our last week of doing this, the 10th and the 12th. Couldn't be better timing with the jobs report coming out tomorrow. So be smart. Tomorrow morning, find it 8:30 a.m. The jobs report. Is it good? Is it bad? How wrong am I? That's next at the jobs report. Thanks for listening to the
CalmCast.
I'm Peter Dunn. Have a great day.